Hello and welcome to another YuGiOh video, and today we are taking a look at the UK and Ireland remote duel Extravaganza deck breakdown, specifically Top Cut we'll get onto. This event took place last weekend, it's Feb 21 at this point. No ban list from the new year yet, we're expecting something in sort of March time, which could have an impact, potentially start hitting Virtual World, maybe Eldritch, given that they haven't really been hit in ban lists recently. But that's kind of like where we're expecting to go in the next couple of months. Let's take a look at the round 1 deck breakdown to start off with. 132 players, so 8 rounds of Swiss from this event. 23 Virtual World as the most popular deck, followed by Eldritch on 18, Tri-Brigade on 9, 8 Shadows, 8 Drytrons, and then some other variants. Interesting that Tri-Brigade picked up massive popularity after it got shown off from the LCS at the previous weekend. Tristan Pugh making it into Top Cut with his Tri-Brigade list, and then the release of Kit and Rendezvous changed up some of the combos, but nobody from the group, including myself, nobody made it into top 16. I was the only one in top 32. So let's jump on to the top 32 deck breakdown. So again, Virtual World carries through at 11. Drytron has a really good conversion rate here, going from 8 to 5. So more than 50% of Drytron made it to top 32 and got their invites. 4 Eldritch, 2 Dogma Invoked, and then so many other decks. The event was won by the one Emancipator Duelist. Then we had Bird Up, Chaos Light Sworn, Dinosaurs, Dragon Link, Goki, Infernoid, Mech Invoked, Orcus PK, and Shadow. Some interesting stuff here. We're going to run through every single one of these that made top 16. But yeah, that for the breakdown, I think we were kind of expecting Virtual World in such high numbers. It's impressive that Drytron made it through, so obviously being piloted only by fairly competent players, really. Only 3 of them didn't make it into Top Cuts. And then Virtual World, you would expect, people have been playing it for so long now at this point, and it's just got the additional trap that gives it some extra resilience, some extra consistency as well. So jumping into the top 16 deck lists, we start off with Alex T in 16th place. For hand traps, he's gone Ash, Nib, Gamma. I think this is pretty standard. The Nib is sort of debatable at this point. A lot of people putting it in and taking it out. Really depends on what you expect from your meta, so clearly gearing up for a very combo heavy meta. Main deck really not built to beat Eldritch, but so many people have dropped Eldritch at this point, which is an interesting one because Virtual World is so big in the UK. From the extra deck, you've got the double Cloud Castle, the one Chow Fang. You've got the Volcanic Mech, which allows you to do that new starting play via the new trap. And one... What else is worth mentioning? They've got the 1/2/2, I think it's called 2/2, the new main deck monster. Dropping one of the Nyans for that. That's a debatable one. A lot of people go back and forth on that one. And then opting to side the Lanciers. There's one Cycle Reader in the side deck for Drytron, which you can search off the Crescendo. That one's a really nice interaction. Just send the Crescendo with your Foolish Burial Goods. Then you have like 4 copies, 5 copies. Is it 4? 4 copies of Cycle Reader post-siding, which is pretty nice. You can also go into the Beatrice, that's in the side deck too. That lets you search for the Cycle Reader as well, so that's another good option. 15th place, we've got arvinb. This is a Shadow list that features the Edge Imp chain, I think it is. That's an interesting one. I really haven't seen that used before. The extra deck's got some interesting stuff going for the Starving Venom and the Muddy Mud Dragon. So you can sort of fuse with your opponent's stuff there. And this is very odd to see a Shadow list mixed with Frightfur in quite this way. But you're just getting additional resources by resolving essentially what is Engage for Frightfur in the form of Patchwork. Side deck, very interesting with Crackdown in there. Interesting that he decided to play Super Poly in the side instead of the main. But I guess it's not really having such a big impact. So yeah, Control-y deck, 3 aerial there. If you can banish your opponent's graveyard, you get in a really good spot for this meta. 14th place is Giles. You may have seen him on the channel before. This time he's rocking up with a Zodiac Eldritch lineup. Gone for Bell, Meister, and Ash as the main deck hand traps. Strike in the main deck, but no Torrential. So not really looking to punish people there. A lot of people playing around Torrential now as a result of its recent popularity. I do really like the Zoo lineup with the one Rapier, the double Thoroughblade, and then one of each of the others. I think that gives you a lot of versatility, and he's opted to main the Called By and the Cyclones. A lot of people are on Called By at the moment. The Cyclones is very interesting because it's good in your mirror matches, really good in the virtual world matchup as well. So yeah, definitely a strong looking list. Another thing to worth mentioning, in the extra deck he's got the Vampire Sucker, and is not playing the BLS link. For some people that's a limitation due to the spend, because if you hear about a big event like the Extravaganza only, a week and a half before it happens, you might struggle to get some of the more expensive cards. But Vampire Sucker does have its occasional bit of utility, opting not to play the Anaconda play that we saw at a previous weekend at the LCS, where you just summon the Anaconda in order to bait like an interruption. So yeah, that's an interesting list there too. On to 13th place, we've got Cameron G. So another Eldritch, but this time it's the Dragoon Eldritch build. Main deck hand traps are Ash, Droll, and Meister. You get additional access to all your traps with the Lilith there, which is quite cool. And otherwise, yeah, it's the core Eldritch lineup. You've got the Dragoon package, including the Insights and the Wyvern. You've also got the 2 Ice Dragon's Prison 3 Torrential, so valuing the destruction of people overextending into the Torrential more than the IDP Banish, which I think is fair enough. You can also, like, it comes down to a similar point for this event, where you could be selling your IDPs and making some money so you can actually buy the rest of your deck. It's got the access code toolkit in the extra deck as well. But this has got 2 Zeus, but 2 Pleiades. I imagine it's quite hard to summon the second Zeus, but I'm sure it does come up every now and again. In the side deck, you've got the Bells again, Cyclones again, very good in the mirror match. Nibs in the side deck. I think this is one we're going to see a lot of from the other lists. I haven't checked through them all yet, but I think Nib in the main or the side was probably very good at this particular event. In general, it's probably not amazing, but I think for this Remote Duel Extravaganza, I think Nib had a lot of impact. Summon them in the side deck as well, very, very cool. Just stop people from playing. We saw a lot of Eldritch lists from the LCS were just about stopping your opponent from playing, not about giving you additional resources. So floodgates that fit into that category tend to put you in a very good spot there. 12th place, Benjamin C. I'm not sure which. I haven't checked the full names, and I'll just be going off the public RaidnTrade pictures because I don't want to disclose too much, but this might be a Ben I know. So Ash, Nib, and Gamma in the main, Call By in the main as well. Is he playing the 2-2? Yeah, he's playing the 2-2 over the third Nyan. And once again, it's double Chooch, one of the new trap, can't remember its name. But list is fairly strong at this point. People stopped playing talents. He's playing 1 prosperity, which is interesting. It's likely that he could only get access to 1, because you don't really need to draw too much outside of it. So yeah, I think that's something you could see bumped up in the future as well, maybe. Extra deck is once again double Cloud Castle. It's got the M7 in here too, and the Bamboozling Gossip Shadow. And the Vermilion Mech for the usual play. And the Juji is doing a lot of work for people at the moment, so I think it's a really nice inclusion. Side deck, very much geared for Drytron and Drytron Virtual World meta, so putting the Lanciers and Cycle Readers and Drolls in the side deck, not maining the Droll. I think that's correct for the moment. Until Drytron's super popular, I just don't think that Droll has a lot of value when you resolve it. Interestingly, gone for the Evenlies. You don't really need to OTK with this deck because your board is so strong, so you can just evenly and then do stuff instead of lightning storming people. So I think that seems pretty reasonable. On to 11th place, we got Kirk. So Kirk went with Triple Ash, Triple Bell, Triple Nib, and Triple Meister. So 4 main decked proper hand traps. No main deck spell or trap removal. Like, specifically spell trap removals, and like Cyclones in the main deck. Actually, no Cyclones in this list at all. Okay, so you really didn't fear that aspect of the mirror match. When you've got Bell in the main deck, you can probably play around it anyway, because Bell hits so much in this matchup that it has a super high impact. And the Torrential as well puts you in a pretty good stead as long as you're resolving it correctly. From the extra deck, what do we got? Double Zeus again, normal Zoo lineup. Got the Ozza and the Vespinato. Yeah, nothing like absurd. Everything here has its place and gets some extra utility from the extra deck. Side deck again, we're seeing the Cycle Readers, the Lanciers, and some Drolls just in case there is a Drytron meta. And very interesting to put Gamma in the side deck. Because if you do go up against like a Zeus and you just can't out it, if that's the kind of thing that you're struggling with, lots of people, as has been mentioned, don't really respect cards like Gamma, so they just only make one VFD at the moment. So then you just Gamma their card and make Zeus and win. Yeah, I think that's a pretty solid list. It does everything it needs to, right? Okay, we'll go on to 10th place. This is Matt. He's playing Virtual World with Ash, Bell, Gamma as the hand traps. Oh, okay. So he's playing Triple Nyan and the 1/2/2. So not dropping a Nyan. Doesn't mind playing 41. You see a lot of people umming and ahhing about playing the one extra card. I think it's fine. I don't think it has too much bearing. No talents. Once again, talents just gone from people's lists, it looks like at this point. Extra deck only has one Cloud Castle. That's pretty interesting. And then he's got the Crystal Wing in there with the Ultimate Zolkin. So you can go into like a backup play if your initial play is disrupted, which is quite cool. Sometimes just having Ultimaya getting you to another name is really strong. Side deck, only 2 Cycle Reader, so not fearing Drytron too much and feeling like the Droll is going to put in more work, so triple Droll here. I mean, you can just OTK them, right? You just Droll and then OTK, it's normally fine. And then lastly for the mirror match, Duster, ooh, okay, 2 Imperm in the side deck. That's very interesting. I don't think we've seen a lot of Imperm recently, but it does have its application, which is quite cool. And then the triple Nib. As I keep saying, I think Nib is going to be really popular from this top cut. I just think it had a lot of impact for this particular event. On to 9th place, and we see our first sight of Orcust from Ben. So the only Orcust list that made it into top 32 is playing Ash, Nib, Meister as the hand traps. Again, they've been very, very popular in the other ones, so probably having a lot of impact here. For starters, it's the triple Gearsu, and then you can go via the Torn Scales into plays as well. So that seems pretty decent. Is he playing the Barricade Borg? No, not playing the Barricade Borg. Okay, so you've just got other... Oh, he's playing Allure. Okay, so you can like allure your bad hands away in order to try and get to a good hand or extend with the Foolish. And if your opponent hand traps you, then you drop talents, which seems pretty good. It's very interesting, the PK lineup, playing the two Silent, the 1 Cloak, and the 2 of the Torn Scales. I guess you don't want to have too many normal summons. So yeah, and the Foolish like gets you an extra extender, so you can always end on like either the Bardiche or Galatea and just some back row, which seems pretty decent, especially if your hand's backed up with a load of hand traps. 44 card main deck, this one. Extra deck, it's got the full like controlling Orcust aspect of the double ding, triple Gala, and the 1 long Gearsu, which I really like to see at the moment. I think it's really good, this format. Then IP for the usual IP plays, Cerberus and Phoenix and Unicorn. I don't know how good Cerberus is right now. I think it depends on what you're facing, really. But I do really like having the Phoenix and the Unicorn as well. You need the Link Rebo. The Union Carrier does some weird stuff at the moment. Like it gets you into plays from strange positions. That's quite cool. And then you've got the Borosword for the OTK and the Cherubini for the main combo, which is always good. Side deck, we got Lanciers, Cyclone, Pancratops is an interesting one. I think Pancratops has been relatively unpopular as of late because it doesn't tend to break many boards. But then if you do face against the like occasional, I mean, like it's all right in the Eldritch one and Eldritch matchup, and it's very good for the Dragon Link one if you ever face that one. So it seems like it's a decent one. There are a few Dragon Link players around. And then we've got Triple Evenly, Triple Bell. Yeah, I really like Bell. Personally, I would main Bell over Meister at this point. But I can see what he's doing with this one. So 8th place, this is a list from Acer. We're going to go through a full interview with him on the channel shortly, if we haven't already put it up. So the list has, this is Mech Invoked, by the way. Mech Invoked in 2021. Oh, this is a pure going second list as well, isn't it? Yeah, okay. So hand traps are Ash, Crow, 2 Meister. You need to hit the graveyard interaction with this deck. So I think Crow is reasonable. Personally, I still prefer Bell over Crow right now, even with the updated Master Rule impacting the event. So like if you banished the Ben 10, then Ben 10 wouldn't trigger, provided you hit it on the chain before the new chain when it activates, that kind of thing. Nice bits of removal with the Gamma Seals. Again, I think Pancratos is a little bit iffy, but he's gone with it because it fits really well into this deck. You got Lightning Storms to break the monster boards, and you've got the droplets as well, which is going to be really impactful, I think. A little bit iffy going into VW boards where they have Chooch, right? Because you don't have any traps to discard off your droplet. But the thing is, a lot of people end on double VFD no Chooch at the moment. So you can just hit both the VFDs and then you're fine anyway. But we'll get a lot more commentary from Acer when he comes onto the channel. Extra deck is looking pretty sick. No Cyburst Link. Okay. So you don't normally go via Almirage then. Okay, he's got the Magistus Link. Because you don't need the like Dogmatic or Graveyard effect or whatever in this build. So you just go via the Magistus guy, and then you've got a Light and your Alistair in play. Instant Fusion for the Thousand Eyes Restrict is pretty cool. But there's no relinquished anima, so you're only having 1 impact, but that's still pretty nice. It's a fusion name as well, which is cool. Side deck, once again, we're going to see Cycle Readers, Lanciers, Cosmics, Drolls. 1 Mine is quite cool. It's a shame you can't play more of it or search it more, but it just has a really good impact in certain matchups, like Drytron when they don't, where you can break the ultimateness and then just deck them out from there. And you can normally like destroy boards through that as well. Not an awful, well, okay, so you got 5 spell trap removal, and you're probably baiting a lot with all the special summons, so I think that one's pretty good for control matchups as well. On to 7th place, Colm C. What do we got? Ash, Bell, Gamma. As hand traps, only 2 Bell. No Nib in the main deck, no Nib in the side deck at all. Okay, interesting. How many Nyan are you playing? You're playing 3 Nyan, no 2/2. And 3 Chooch. That's interesting. So a lot of people have dropped the 3rd Chooch, which can be a bit iffy when you're still playing Desires, but I think in general it's fine. So yeah, I think another solid virtual world list. They're all very similar, but some slight tweaks. So that I'm just going to focus on the tweaks really. Extra deck, double Cloud Castle again. I think that's correct right now. The 1 Zeus with the Fortune and the Gossip Shadow. So you've got some like. You've got a lot of ways to get to plays when you start playing Chao Feng and Vermilion Mech with the new traps, so the list should be really consistent. Like, even more consistent than the old version of Virtual World, basically. Side deck, once again, we're seeing the Cycle Readers, Lanciers, Drolls, Droplets in the side. Not sure if we saw this from a previous Virtual World, but you can see why it comes in. And then a lot of respect for back row with the double Lightning Storm, Dusters, and Reboot. We looked at the top cut breakdown. There wasn't an insane number of back row based decks in the top cut, but I think you have to respect it if you want to make it there. So yeah, it's fair enough to play all those in the side deck. 6th place, Bradley S. We are onto our first Drytron list. So what do we got? We've got hand traps, a double Ash, triple Herald. Yeah, triple Herald. He's playing both Ultimateness and Vanity's Ruler. And double Gamma is an interesting one from the main deck. Double Gamma, double Delta, double Zeta. I don't know how I feel about double Zeta. I'd argue you should play 3. But hey, I'm not the one who top with Drytron. So you can kind of screw my opinion. The Instant Fusion one in the main deck's really nice. You're going to see some explanation of this if you watch the video from Owen Wilson that'll be up on the channel soon. Extra deck, you've got Apollo Borosword. Borosword's quite cool at just creeping into decks so you can close things out. The instant fusion via Millenniumize is cool. Gone for the Avramax, right? So sometimes you just have to make a board that your opponent can't break. So you make an IP and then leave enough materials to make Avramax during your opponent's turn. And they just can't out it. Like, a lot of decks can't out it, which is quite cool. Side deck, we've got Lanciers, Dark Rule No More. Not a popular choice for this event's top cut. A lot of people preferring Droplet over Dark Rule No More. And I think you'd argue that in this deck, you can go either way, because you either Dark Rule No More them, then make, you either Droplets them, then make Borosword and win the game, or you Dark Rule and No More them, and then you make your, like, Herald, and then they can't win the game at that point. So it's kind of between those two schools of thought. Draws in the side deck, and Nibs as well. And just, like, Nib at this event must have been so good. I didn't play it. I probably should have played it. I didn't realize how good it was going to be. And then we've got Reboot and Twisters. You'll see Twisters in the Drytron list because it's just one of the better options for playing against the Shadol matchup. Okay, 5th place, Connor D. This is 2nd Drytron list. We've got Lancia, Ash, and Herald as the main deck hand traps. 2 Gamma, 1 Delta. That's sort of the, like, highlights from the Drytron lineup. 3 Prosperity. Again, you'll see some really cool discussion with Owen if you watch that profile, so definitely check that one out. It covers about Prosperity, and instant fusion and siding patterns, which is really important if you're thinking about playing this deck, so definitely go watch that. Extra deck, we've got Apollo Borosword, but this time we've got Access Code Talker for breaking some boards. So you can go via Zeus or via Access Code to break some boards if you have to. Side deck, Cycle Readers again, but this time there's no 3rd Lancia because you can search Lancia anyway. But we've got Denko, which I don't think we've seen in any side deck yet, because the deck just does not need its normal summon in most scenarios. Especially if you're playing into back row, you can just normal Denko and you should be fine. Droplet and Twisters as the Twisters, Reboot, Feather Duster as back row removal, and the Bell in the side deck. Bell's so good this format. I think it's a great choice. Yeah, nice list. And then 4th place is Owen's list. Again, full deck profile available on the channel. This list is identical to Connor's. They played card for card the same list, I think. I'm pretty sure. There's some discussion on changes that you can make to it post-event, but all of the previous comments apply to this one. Go check out the deck profile as soon as it's live, because it will really help you with understanding the ratios for this list. 3rd place, we get our first taste of Dinosaur from Joshua. We've got 3 Ash, 3 Bell, 3 Nib as the hand traps. Oh, and Gamma. Okay, there's a lot of hand traps here, which you could afford in a deck that is very consistent. I'm wondering if this is going blind second, because there is that 1 Mine and Dusters both in the main deck, as well as, okay, you play Pancratops anyway. But yeah, maybe this is blind second because you have so many hand traps. I wouldn't put it past him. Extra deck. What here is unusual? Geonator. I don't know if people are playing Geonator much anymore. It's quite cool. You've got the Lambda in the extra as well, and you can go via Relinquished Anima. I really like that one. Just slap a level 1 on board, Relinquished Anima away something from your opponent when they place their cards in the wrong zone. Untus. I don't know if you summon the Untus, right? You probably just send it against Dogma. Yeah. It seems like he's just got that extra space, so he's put the Untus in the extras to deal with Dogma, and has gone for the Omega. You're probably not going to be using the Gamma and Driver for other link materials, so just go for Omega, rip another card. When your opponent is playing on 4 cards going second into a board, they're really going to struggle. Side deck, we've got Droll, Reapers. Okay, so he's playing the VFD in the extra deck, so you can Ghost Reaper your opponent's VFD. Really, really good, actually, given how many people are going for double VFD boards. If they start that line of play, you spot it, and you just Reaper them. It puts you in a really good spot. Siding the Lightning Storms, Reboot. Triple Judgment. Okay, so as I say, I'm not sure if this is a going first or going second list. I'd have to review some of the streams. But you've got the judgment from when you are going first, whether you're forced to or whether you choose it, which should have a lot of impact. So yeah, I think that's a really good one to have, especially because if you're forced to go first and your opponent doesn't kill you that turn, they're probably holding a Lancia. So you've got something extra to break the Lancia. Second place is Herman. What have we got? So another virtual world list. Ash, Nib, Gamma as the hand traps. There's no Tutu. And it is double chooch one of the new trap. Yeah. Otherwise, main deck very much in line with the previous virtual world list. Extra deck is also doing double Cloudcaster, double VFD. The Juji. It's got the M7. It hasn't got the Utopia Beyond. I think that's the thing. It doesn't have that some of the others had, but I don't think you really need it. And then side deck, we've got Psycho Readers, Lanciers, Pancratops, Droll. So he's also really respecting the Drytron, which just didn't happen, right? His Avengers did not have a lot of Drytron representation. When you get to top cut, you got 3 in top 8, but until then, not an awful lot. Siding talents, which I think a lot of other people couldn't afford to get, hence you don't see it in a lot of other lists. And Raigeki. Interesting. So when people play around Lightning Storm, you just Raigeki them. That was cool. And then on to first place. So this is Neil's one. If you want to see him batter me, check out Farfa's stream. I don't know if he kept the stream videos. I'll probably put a stream highlight on. But he absolutely battered me in round 7. Won the Dyrol, just insane board through hand traps, and then maybe I should have hand trapped him better. Maybe could have denied him first place. We'll see. But yeah, that was very interesting to see Adamancipator in action after so long. Let's look at the deck. You got 3 of all the important names. Hand traps are double Ash, double Nib, triple Gamma. That's very weird. Okay. I mean, if it did the job, right? If it did the job. Double blue for the rocks, triple Guardian, triple Supplier, triple Parallel Exceed. Yeah, if you open Parallel Exceed unplayable, then you get to a crazily good spot. He is playing the Plague Spreader Zombie, which he mentioned during our match. He liked the fact that you could fix the bad Red Eyes hands with it. And it's just another extender, really. And he's also playing the triple Roxy's one. I don't know what the fire one's called. Fansies? Something like that. And triple signs. No friends. Not playing any friends. And only 2 Doki is pretty unusual, I think. I think I'd probably play a third Doki over the second blue, but maybe blue's just got more value, not sure. Extra deck, 1 of each of the Adamancipators. You got Apollo, Borosword, Borreload, Savage, Fibrax, Formula Synchron. Do you go into Formula Synchron? Oh, because he's got the big satellite guy, so you can bounce 3. Okay. Granite to fix the hands, IP, and the usual Anaconda, Dragoon stuff. Side deck. This is where it gets really interesting. So he's got 1 Lancia, 1 Darkroll Nimble, triple Droll, double Droplet, 1 Gate Blocker, 1 Feather Duster, 1 Imperial Order, 1 Lightning Storm, 1 Red Reboot, 2 Triple Tactics Talent, and 1 Twin Twisters. This is easily the most one-offs I've seen in a side deck for years. Yeah, I don't know how you go. I don't know how you get to all these cards. I see how you get to Gate Blocker. And I can see how you get to Draw, because you got 3 of it. But it must have been so hard to rip the exact right card when you needed it right. If you've only got 1 Lancia and you're just depending on that, I don't know. It's a little bit unusual, a little bit unorthodox, but who can blame him? He ended up taking first place with the Rocky Boys. So definitely something to watch out for in the future. Let's jump back to the top 32 breakdown. So yeah, even though you've got all this Virtual World and Drytron and Eldritch representation, the event ends up being taken by Adamancipator. I think his record was XO1. I think nobody was XO completely. I think he did have a 1 draw at some point. So ending on 22 points. Yeah, very cool. Shame that we didn't get the Goki Inferno. There's some other cool lists in the in top 32, just didn't make it through to top 16. But what can you do? It's called a meta for a reason. There are just decks which are significantly better at playing the game than others at the moment. Kudos to Neil for taking first place. congratulations to everyone else who managed to top this event. And yeah, if you're interested in seeing any more deck profiles, be sure to check out Owen's and Acer's. They'll both be on the channel at some point soon if they're not already up. And I'll see you guys in the next video.